Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we are going to continue our series talking today about our most overrated player, who I think the most overrated OKC Thunder player is. We'll talk more about our Summer League Thunder. The Thunder played the Magic last night. Then we'll play the Pelicans tonight. We'll go into that stuff. And then we'll talk about the possibility of Ousmane Dieng being traded. There's been some spark ups about him being traded and some possible teams looking for that forward, young forward, and Thunder could get off some space for next year and some of the years to come. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we'll continue our new series that we started yesterday. If you weren't able to see yesterday's video, we started with the most underrated Thunder. So if you want to see that, go back to yesterday's video and watch that. But for today, we'll talk about the most overrated Thunder in my eyes. And like I said in the last video, my criteria is just how the media perceives them, and if the media gives them the recognition, and throughout everybody's rankings they're rated around where they should be, like people know that how that player produces, stuff like that. For the most part, everybody kind of knows who's underrated, overrated, but for that's just kind of give you an idea how I do it. I think for the most part there's two Thunder players in my eyes that I look to that could say they're overrated, not just based on all that stuff that I talked about, but I think contract-wise for at least these two players I see, and that is Isaiah Hartenstein and Isaiah Joe. The reason I say those two, don't get me wrong, I love Isaiah Hartenstein. I think he played huge minutes. I think he's a big reason why we won the championship, good screener, but I just think for the amount we're paying him, obviously it's not hurting us now, but I just think for the amount we pay him, I just don't think he produces at the level. I think late in the playoffs he stopped shooting the floater, so it felt like when he was out there, we pretty much only had four guys that could score the ball at sometimes. So I look at that guy, and then I look at Isaiah Joe. For most of you guys, I know a lot of people who love Isaiah Joe because he's the Thunder's best shooter, perceived best shooter. He's off the bench. He had that crazy dunk a few years back. I don't know if you guys remember that, but for some reason I've seen people talk. Because I mentioned a few weeks ago about the Thunder are most likely going to trade Joe. I mean, that's why they extended him and Wiggins. Now you get them on these good deals for when you do want to trade them for whoever it might be. You're able to have these tradable contracts, and I think that's exactly what Joe has. And I just don't, with Topic, Sorber, and how Barnheiser's looking in the Summer League so far, I just feel like, and Ousmane Dieng getting traded out, Joe's just gonna slowly keep falling. I mean, we saw him in the playoffs lose minutes, and I mean, we just didn't see him make that big of an impact in the playoffs. So I think it comes down to those two as just the two overrated guys in my mind. But I think for me at least, I think Isaiah Joe is the most overrated. The Thunder, I think Hartenstein still produces at a high level. I still think he made a big enough difference. For Joe, he didn't make a difference in the playoffs. I think paying him the amount you're paying him for a guy who you're not using in the playoffs now, who when you're having these new guys come in, especially Mitchell and Topic, if both of these guys come in and just start playing tremendous, that's going to take up another guard spot, and then you're going to have Joe. Maybe Joe becomes a candidate at the trade deadline for a team who's needs a shooter. Maybe the Lakers want to put a shooter around Luka and LeBron, and maybe we trade for picks or something like that. But I just think Isaiah Joe, to my eyes, is the most overrated Thunder. You guys might disagree. Let me know who you guys might think the most overrated Thunder. You might think it's Hartenstein. You might think it's somebody I don't even think about. So let me know what you guys think down below, and let me know if you guys want to keep doing these type of segments where we just kind of talk about my opinion on certain Thunder viewpoints and Thunder rosters. But we'll move on to some Summer League action as the OKC Thunder defeated the Orlando Magic last night in the Las Vegas Summer League, moved to 3-0. And this was just another AJ Mitchell masterclass, had 27 points, just looking like a guy out there, like we said from the start, just is ready for the actual NBA season to start. Looks like he's going to make a big impact and has earned his way to making some high quality minutes for the Thunder next season. And I mean, when you're averaging 22 in the summer league and you're controlling the entire offense, it's just something for the Thunder to look forward to. And on the Nikola Topic side of things, Topic shot 33% from the field, kind of a down game, had 8, 6, and 4. So still decent counting stats, just not the efficiency on the offensive end. Had some good defensive possessions that we saw growth from. So not a good offensive game, but nothing to kind of that stands out in this game to me about what Topic did. Barnheiser, nothing that stood out right there. So just really from, and then the other thing is, it's kind of funny because yesterday's video I saw somebody comment on the most underrated video and say that Brandon Carlson's the most underrated Thunder, and then that video goes up a few hours later. Brandon Carlson drops 23 in the NBA Summer League, and he's the number 2 leading scorer behind AJ Mitchell. So I thought that was kind of funny. So shout out to that guy. But still, 27 from AJ Mitchell, 23 from Carlson, enough to get to the Thunder to 3-0 now on the NBA Summer League slate, and now they're one of 7 teams to be a 3-0 in this NBA Summer League. And like I said yesterday, they're looking for a quote-unquote another title, and obviously the NBA Summer League title is nothing that people will talk about in relevancy, but it helps these young guys kind of get that feel of playing those games that kind of means something. Obviously, Topic, Mitchell, Carlson, those guys were a part of the team and all that and got to celebrate, but they weren't out there. AJ Mitchell was out there in spotty minutes, but nothing crazy. It gives these guys that experience where right in when the Thunder, knock on wood, obviously would hopefully make the playoffs again and get on another run to the finals, these guys can be of help and not just be out there and this be their first time in the playoffs, because that could affect, especially on the bench unit. I mean, we saw if you don't have a good bench and you can't go deep, I mean, the last 2 teams the Thunder faced, Pacers, Timberwolves, both had benches. You saw the Nuggets couldn't make it past us in 7 games because of the lack of their bench. So you have to look at it from the factor of how the Thunder are going to approach it from that standpoint, but just something to kind of keep your eye on moving forward for now. And now the Thunder will look their attention tonight to the New Orleans Pelicans, looking to move to 4-0. The Thunder moved to 4-0. Then we're really talking about possibly contend for that Summer League championship. So just something to kind of keep our eyes on tonight. We'll talk about it in tomorrow's video, see how the Thunder do and all that, but just something to keep your eyes on for the Thunder if you're just kind of wanting to watch more basketball. They were on NBA TV tonight if you wanted to watch, so just something to kind of keep up with. And then we'll talk about some more off-season trade rumor stuff in our kind of wrap it up tonight in our segment, and the possibility of Ousmane Dieng getting traded came out. Obviously, the Thunder are, with these contract extensions here in a couple years, players are it's going to be a lot harder to build around role players, so we're going to need those rookie contracts. So guys like Ousmane Dieng, who's not going to be playing and is making closer to that $7-8 million range, we're going to get those contracts out. And some of the teams that the Thunder could be in contact with, teams kind of looking at possibly looking for a young forward, a bigger forward who can kind of score on all 3 levels. You're looking at the Chicago Bulls possibly, who has a lot of young players. Obviously, we have the Caruso-Giddey trade, so we've already had that. The Portland Trail Blazers looking young, so could use another young guy if they wanted a big forward. They kind of have a lot of guard and big depth, so to get another forward out there could help them. Obviously, we know they have a bunch of draft capital. That draft capital probably wouldn't be high draft picks because the Trailblazers would start becoming good. They're starting to turn that corner, but still it's first round picks that you could still get and obviously we know how pressy in the Thunder draft. The Thunder will take any extra picks they can get. And then another team that might shock some people out east that could look at possibly calling the Thunder about Ousmane Dieng is the Orlando Magic. They're looking for another bench guy to kind of score, give some spark off the bench, a bigger guy. You have Paolo right there, Fonz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, and they're going to get to that point too. A lot of people aren't talking about it, where they're going to hit that apron. They gave Paolo that contract, and now you also have Suggs, you have Wagner in these contracts where they're going to be hitting aprons, so they need guys who are going to be on these cheap deals as well. So they could look at a possibility of giving Thunder some picks, and the Thunder taking in picks and giving up Ousmane Dieng for them to kind of get another bench depth and get some more depth for the Orlando Magic in a weaker Eastern Conference. So, I mean, if you just look at it from the perspective of looking far ahead into the trade deadline possibility and what that might look into, Isaiah Joe's a good candidate. Ousmane Dieng, I'm sure Kenrich Williams might be a good candidate as well. Those are your three guys who have expiring deals, tradable contracts that aren't making a huge difference on the team or expect them to, just because of other guys stepping up, younger guys who are going to take their spot because they're at that same level and they're just cheaper at the end of the day. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think down below on all of these subjects. Let me know if you want me to keep doing that most overrated, underrated, best defender, stuff like that. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.